What's up, everybody? We are back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's been a while since we've done our top 50 metal albums list. Hey, we're back.
Yep.
Now, listen, full disclosure here, there was a little confusion. We thought this was supposed to be British Steel by Judas
Yeah.
Priest, but we listened to the album, determined it was terrible, and thought, ugh, we can't do that here, so we had to wedge in something fictitiously.
Okay, no, stop it. Stop it.
That's totally a joke.
Stop this
No.
lies.
So here's what happened. So, look,
Dave
50
fucked
albums
up.
ago, Dave compiled this list out of 8 other lists that are out in the ether. And he missed a number on the British Steel list. So instead of it being like the
Decibel boy.
18th best album on one list, it was like the 618th best album on a list. And so it actually did.
It should have been
Go
number
ahead.
50 in reality.
Yeah, it should have been number 50, which, hey, listen, I'm glad it wasn't because Overkill's record, was it The Age of Decay or something like that?
Years of Decay.
Years of Decay, dude, great album. Better than British Steel, by far. So, anyway, we recalculated a little bit and we determined that actually Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, was actually going to be the 13th record. So,
I wish this would have been number 7 on this list. God, that would have been
that would
so
have been-
good. But
that would have been
everyone would have said this
apropos,
was
yeah.
rigged. So,
yeah. But so hey, we're here with that. Sorry, it's taken a little while for us to get into the review of this. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the real world.
and
But
we're,
hey,
missing,
we're here.
we're missing somebody too because he's out sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
he's sick.
But we have his notes and we have his score, so we're prepared to give you a full score tonight. So let's quit fucking around. Let's get into the history of the band and the album, and then we'll get right into the metal rundown here. So this is Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. This is the number 13 album on the top 50 metal albums list of all time. Iron Maiden, formed in 1975, is an English metal band from Leighton, East London. Excuse me. The band was formed by bassist and primary songwriter Steve Harris. The lineup for most of the band's history has consisted of Steve Harris on bass, Bruce Dickinson on vocals, Nico McBrain on the drums, Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, and/or Yannick Gers on guitar. These guys are pioneers of the new wave of British heavy metal, and the band is considered a major influence to many of today's most popular metal bands. They've sold over 130 million records, released 17 studio albums, including 2021's Senjutsu. They've won 1 Grammy and are presently nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2023.
It's criminal that they aren't in already.
I agree. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, released in 1988, is the band's 7th studio album. It's a concept album inspired by the novel Seventh Son by Orson Scott Card. We see the band lean more progressive on this record. It's also the first Maiden record to feature keyboards. The album does feature many writing credits actually for Bruce Dickinson, who is kind of shut out of writing credits from their previous album. And on this one, he shows up quite a bit. The lineup for this album features Dickinson on vocals, Steve Harris on bass, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith on guitars, and Nico McBrain on drums. This album peaked at number 12 on the Billboard charts, and it featured 3 singles: Can I Play with Madness, The Evil That Men Do, and The Clairvoyant.
This is a great
All
album.
right.
I just want to come out.
So as we normally do here, let's hit the metal rundown. Dave, since you seem to be frothing at the mouth to talk about this album, go ahead and hit us with your opinion of the musicianship on this record.
Look, I had no idea really what to expect. My experience with Iron Maiden is really limited, especially when you consider their illustrious career.
We've only had them one time on the list so far, right? Just their first album, right?
Correct. And I've heard the typical songs that I think everyone who's listened to metal has heard.
Yeah. Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills.
Yes. So, I'm passively familiar with them, but this album solidifies for me that I am absolutely a Maiden fan. And getting into the musicianship specifically, I was blown away by the musicianship on this record. I think I feel it's a travesty that I haven't listened to this band for longer, and I will be correcting that 100%.
Well, yeah, they show up like 4 more times on this list, and the next 12 albums, like we're going to be drowning in some Iron Maiden.
It's like 3 more times, but
okay,
dude, it's so good. Guitar work is excellent. The drums, the vocals, the lyrics, the hooks of the choruses. This has everything that I want, and it's like I just feel like Maiden was already so far ahead of everybody. I mean, this came out in '88, like, and
Yeah.
this is like so good. This predates Images and Words from Dream Theater, because like you said, this does have some progressive elements into it, and I just think there's not a single bad song on this record from a musicianship standpoint. Every song hits for me. And I think there's, like, we'll get into it later, but I think there's some absolute, like, legendary status songs on this record, in my opinion.
Jason, go ahead.
I'm gonna agree with one part of what Dave said, and that's that there are legendary parts in some of these songs on this album. For me, the musicianship side of it, there are definitely sections that are exquisite. With highlighting, of course, you said his name was Steve Harris, the bass player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic for most every song on here. Vocal style, can't stand it. But as far as everything else went, I couldn't ask for better musicianship. How's that?
So
Now, Jason, this is I just want to bring up vocals right here because I think there's a lot of people. I mean, look, there's going to be about 5 people that watch this, so there's going to be 5 people that like wonder what the fuck your problem is. But if there was like 5,000 people, they would all wonder that as well. So can you help us understand a little bit about what exactly is the vocal style that you're going after here? Like, what's your preference? Because
it's not a preference. It's just like when we listen to other heavy metal, more modern heavy metal. Like,
let's say Pantera. Like, I know you like Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, Far Beyond Driven, that kind of stuff. Are you a fan of the Cowboys from Hell record?
Yes, but it's not my number 1 or 2.
So is it because like songs like Cemetery Gates and things like that where you're getting some like really good clean vocals? Is that's not really like that style of vocal?
I can explain it best by saying that while I can like metal, like once you go into like say Cookie Monster, it's not my thing. I just can't. Word vomit. I just can't. Vibrato, heavy, non-stop vibrato. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I can't unprogram my mind for it. This is now look. I understand that people like it. I understand that there's a skill to singing this way. I do. And all kudos and props to the singer here for Iron Maiden. But this is exactly the genre and time frame.
Just so we know.
Yeah, in the time frame of other bands that were doing this exact same thing that I just tuned them out.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't get into this vocal style.
Jason, I got bad news for you, Jason. After we finish this list, we're doing Aaron Neville's top 5 albums. So I hope you're ready for some vibrato.
I think the reason why, and I don't want to speak for Josh, but I think the reason why Josh is making it, is curious about your lack of enjoyment here is I think a lot of people smarter than us would put Bruce Dickinson on their Mount Rushmore of heavy metal vocalists. I don't think that's I think that's a cold take. Like I think he is. Yeah. I think he is a lot of people's like top 3 easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we did Operation Mindcrime. What was your opinion of Jeff Tate for Queensryche?
That the issue with him was that he didn't do it at the end of like every single verse or every other word.
Yeah.
Like there was some breaks in there. Like I don't mind it when it's peppered in. But this album right here, nearly from start to finish, is this style of vocals. And again, more power to the person who could do this and pull it off. But for me, like it makes my ears bleed.
Yeah. I will say, you know what? One interesting point about musicianship, because I think it's relevant mostly here, is this is the same. These members on this album, there's a little bit of a gap, but since basically the year 2000, these same members that made this album have been the same members in the band, with the addition of another guitarist. They actually have 3 guitarists now since the year 2000. Janet Gers, but this group of guys is the same group of guys that made all the classic Maiden records. I just thought it was crazy that this band has basically been mostly the same people all this time.
Yeah, I don't know. Just quickly for my musicianship part of it here, I love for me, it's the quality of the composition of the songs. I think that's the part of it's unbeatable, right? It's got a prog feel, but it's not all the way prog, right? Like there's some proggy sections, but then there's just some good straight ahead, just metal sections. For me, this is all about Steve Harris. And look, it's not about the bass playing, but it's his songwriting ability, right? I mean, earlier in the history of it, we talked about Bruce Dickinson getting a lot of writing credits. Well, Steve Harris is the sole songwriter for my 2 favorite songs on this album. So this dude he's phenomenal. As far as instrumental goes, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith for me. I mean, just obviously a big standout. Anytime they do any dueling guitar work, it's fantastic. What did Adrian have on here? I believe he said that this is the best album of 1988.
Well, so that's entertainment value. So
okay. I apologize.
For musicianship, we can go into entertainment value because we're pretty much there. But as far as musicianship, Adrian has bass, guitar, synth, and drums all rule. Adrian does want to note here that the vocals are forgivable. So I don't think Adrian was sold on the vocals, but for those that don't know, our 4th guy, he's not typically a vocals guy most of the time. He's more of a musician.
Guitarist.
He's a guitarist in real life, and so he mostly pays attention to the music. Vocals are just, kind of background for him most of the time.
Yeah. All right. So going into entertainment value next year, I believe he said, quote me on this, this is the best album of 1988. No, that's not a mistake.
I'll read it verbatim. You basically have the idea, but it's funnier what he has here. Best album of 1988. No, you didn't read that wrong, bitch. So for those that I believe
definitely in reference to And Justice for All coming out that year.
Look, I have to look back and see what I gave the score for And Justice for All to know that if I feel the same with him. But as far as entertainment value, I don't know that I could have been more entertained by a record. By this record, like I don't know that like I just loved it from start to finish. There's 8 songs. It's a fairly quick,
cool 44 minutes, just under 44 minutes.
Yeah, I think the first 4 tracks leading into the title track go really quick. I love all of them. The title track is really long, but to me, it warrants its length. It's basically 10 minutes long, and I love every minute of that. And then you got the final 3 tracks, which kind of bring the album home. I think the track ordering is perfect on this record. I traditionally listen to albums like in their entirety most of the time. I don't really jump around and like listen to mixes and stuff. So like for me, this was a great experience because I feel like each track went into the next like perfectly. Like the mood, it hit home. Like this checked all the boxes for me from an entertainment perspective.
Yeah. Jason, go ahead.
I'm going to just reiterate a little bit what I said already, but it's not new that I am not a fan of the singing style, which in my opinion is overused on this album. So unfortunately, this was not a fun experience these last few weeks for me.
All right. Well, hey, what were your top 3 tracks on the album, Jason?
Okay, so
dude, come on, quit acting like that. There's fucking bangers all over this record.
Look, I'm gonna give you the 3 worst songs, 3 least worst songs. How's that? In order from number 3, The Evil That Men Do. Number 2, Can I Play With Madness? And number 1, Infinite Dreams. Now, I'm going to say this. The second worst song on this album is also partly the best song on this album. So let me explain. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son for me is the second worst song on this album. The problem
Before you go any further, hold on. Before you go any further, I gotta know, what's the worst song?
The worst song is The Prophecy.
Okay. All right.
So, but the problem with Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is when you get to the 5 minute and 22 second mark, it's hands down the best music for me on the entire album, because it is nearly a masterpiece of musicianship with none of the vocals, and it's fantastic. So it is
Nice.
the second worst and the best song on the album.
All right.
All right.
What was Adrian's top three?
All right, I have it here, and then I'll go after that. So Adrian has an honorable mention, "The Clairvoyant," great song. It was the number 7 track. His number 3, "The Evil That Men Do," the great song. Number 2, "Only the Good Die Young." He has a note here, that effing bass lead though. Number 1, no surprise in my opinion, "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son." And so I'll go here with my 3 because they're a little bit similar to his. So I have my number 3 as "Only the Good Die Young." It's the closing track of the record. I think it's fantastic. My number 2 is the opening track of the record, "Moonchild," which I feel like no one's brought up yet, although Jason doesn't like the record, so he wouldn't bring it up. But I think "Moonchild" is excellent. I love the song. Fun tidbit.
Blah, blah, blah.
Fun tidbit. The opening lines of "Moonchild" and the closing lines of "Only the Good Die Young" are the same. The album ends where it begins, which
More
I think
seventh moon of a seventh seal of a seventh something.
and to me, by a country mile, I think one of the greatest songs in metal. Like, this would be in my top 50 metal songs of all time if I came up with a list. The title track, "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son." I think it's absolutely untouchable of a track.
You think it's the best song on the album?
By a lot. I think it's a damn masterpiece of music. Love it.
Well,
Part of it is.
all right, Dave. Well, my number 3 track here, I'm right there with you. "Moonchild." Love the entire extended intro. So good. Number 2 for me, "The Clairvoyant." I mean, just a banger. I love, like, about a minute and a half in, it kicks in like a little chorus. So good. And I don't know. For me, the number 1 song by Country Mile, and I think this would be on my top 50 metal songs of all time if I had my list, is the title track, "Seventh Son of a Seventh Son." Bro, this song is so good. Like, it has no business being this 10-minute metal masterpiece, but fuck, this song is great, dude.
You had me worried there a little bit, Josh. You had me worried.
I do want to interject that we said this before, but I think it is absolutely true. You're either a Priest fan or you're a Maiden fan. And I think we know where the lines are starting to be drawn.
Bro, I think you're the only one on the Priest side at this point.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm going back and changing my Priest scores even lower.
Making them lower.
Yeah, because at this point,
So,
yeah.
Jason, I gotta know too. So, not to drag this out, okay, but Iron Maiden, definitely a huge influence on one of your favorite bands, Love Bites. Right?
Yeah.
I'm confused as to how you can hate this so much, but like really, really love Bites, because the vocal style is incredibly similar.
Very similar, except for, again, I think Love Bites peppers it in. There are some songs where it's a little bit overdone, but it's just not start to finish. It really is. And like I said, it's just for me, it's just when you get to a certain point, and it just continues on, like my brain just turns off.
Hey, that's a shameless plug for everybody to go listen to some more Love Bites. Hey, let's move on to the next section here, audio production. Just like the last Maiden record we did, this one's produced by Martin Birch. Martin Birch has done most of the Maiden catalog, and this album was most recently remastered in 2015. Sounded great.
Yeah, I have no issues with the production. I think Maiden's production value is spot on. The mix that they have with the bass and all the instruments, including the vocals. I mean, It sounds amazing. I do want to note, Adrian wants to note here that the audio production is better than And Justice for All's. Just he wanted to make sure that was known.
I mean, look, it's fine. Let's get in here to like. Oh, go ahead.
I would say, as far as audio, yeah, to what Dave said, the mix is fantastic. The bass is prevalent through every song, but it's not overpowering. It's not overdone. You can hear just about everything that's going on fairly cleanly. So, audio is fantastic.
Yeah. All right, let's get in here to the legacy and let's give this our metal rating. So, hey, just for some clarity up front here, when we're talking about our metal scores, for a lot of people, a 7 would be an average rating. For us, we've lowered that down to a 5. So if we give an album anything a 5 or above, that's various levels of we would definitely recommend this record for you to listen to. Anything sub 5, so 4.9 and down, that's various levels of moose caca. Okay, that's an album we would not recommend you listen to. Okay, so if you hear us give something like Jason gave Operation Mindcrime a 6.8, that's a travesty, by the way. But that's a better than average score, just so you know. Okay,
yeah,
just for comparison's sake. So hey, Jason, let's get your bullshit score out of the way first, and why don't you go ahead and give us your score?
All right, look, it's no secret by now if you've been listening from the start. We thank you. This was something I truly go into these with an open mind as best I can. This is just not anything that I enjoyed. And it's unfortunate. I'm more disappointed because as high as this is on the list, I was really expecting from here on out to be like pleasantly surprised. And I was just not. This is a very 80s metal rock vibrato heavy singing style album, very much in this. It's like right in the zone of everything I don't like. I gave this a 4.7.
Jesus.
I would not recommend this album because I can't. I understand.
Oh,
I do understand that people like this.
You're telling me.
I cannot recommend
this record is 20 basis points worse than Operation Mindcrime.
Yep.
Ha!
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
So
hold on, Dave. Let me go. Let me go, Dave. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and give you my score here. Hey, look, part of the delay for this record was me. I didn't get a chance to give it like a full listen in time for last week because of some things going on. So I was thinking about just like listening to it once and saying, hey, fuck it. Let me just go on here and fake the funk. Look, I'm super glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I got a chance to really listen to this record this last week. I listened to it about 5 times, got better every single time. I love this record. It is just a smidge below Operation Mindcrime for me. And I know I've referenced that a few times. Look, besides the fact that these are typically, come up as the number 1, number 2 concept albums of all time, they're also incredibly similar to me in terms of like musical style and vocals. I'm coming in with an 8.2 on this.
Okay. All right, Josh, I was hoping that you would give it a good enough score. You did just enough to drag this into what is considered our A tier, which this record absolutely deserves to be in. So I'll go with 8. I got Adrian's score pulled up, so let me see if Adrian has any final notes. Adrian does want to mention that yes, it deserved to be shoehorned onto this list, and yes, he wants more Iron Maiden in his life. Adrian dropped a very high score for him. He's pretty stingy with his scores. He dropped an 8.5 on this thing. That's a very, very good score. I'm coming in the highest score. I think on average, I give the highest scores. I came in at a 9. I thought this record was phenomenal. I have this in legendary tier status for me. This is going into my regular rotation. This is one of the best metal albums I have heard from start to finish. Yeah, this is absolutely amazing stuff. This gives it an overall score with Jason's tanking score. Put this at a 7.6, criminally low.
I should have given it a lower score.
But again, our range is is different than most. That still hits it as an A tier record, phenomenal record. 7.6. We haven't given a score that high since months ago when we reviewed Diary of a Madman. So,
Oh, man.
Yeah, 7.6. That is, I mean, I'm just taking a quick glance. That is in the higher echelon of our scores. So, very, very strong score for sure.
Yeah. And again, I want anybody that's made it this far that might be upset that it's at 7.6. There's four of us giving grades. Not everybody loves everything.
Oh,
So
no.
this is a nice aggregate score. Like I don't have a problem with this being at a 7.6.
It's a mini metal Metacritic, right? So
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, hey, hope you guys like the video this week. The album was fantastic. We do have the number 12 record coming up hopefully next week. We'll see how that goes. But that's going to be the first album, the debut album from the mighty Black Sabbath coming up next week. So that's going to be a fun one. Hey, hope you liked the video. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're putting out weekly metal content. We got metal reactions, metal reviews, and all kinds of other cool shit. Hey, in the meantime, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
Later.